down your block, boy. Bass beating down your block, boy. All I hang around is block boys. In my pocket, that's a knot, boy. Think you hot, but you not, boy. Bass beating down your block, boy. Bass beating down your block, boy. Bass beating down your block, stunting.
Yo, YouTube, what's up, we're gonna watch a video by Tex called Cosmonaut Variety Hour Doesn't Understand Batman v Superman. We're gonna actually watch two videos, but one video at a time, so we're gonna watch this, and then there's gonna be another Batman v Superman. So when I drop the second one, I don't want to hear, oh, why'd you drop another? Like, I already told you what we're gonna do. So that's what we're gonna do, and that's what's gonna happen, and already happened. So boom. Anyways, we were on like a little, I don't know, we're on a little Zack Snyder like little, I don't know, run right now or whatever. I don't know what to call this, but we're just here to talk about and celebrate Zack Snyder and his film. But in the other video I did, I was talking about how Batman v Superman is like, other than, I said Sucker Punch is a misunderstood film, but Batman v Superman is really misunderstood, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand it, and especially like, I said it in the last video, I feel like a lot of people saw the theater version and only the theater version, and didn't see the Ultimate Edition. And if they did, then you just didn't understand the movie, and that's okay if you can admit it. But the Ultimate Edition has the full things they cut out. So the stuff they cut out, the studio cut out, it makes sense in the Ultimate Edition. So that's why I always, anytime I reference or I recommend people to watch Batman v Superman, watch the Ultimate Edition. Don't even watch the regular version. Watch the Ultimate Edition. But anyways, yeah, I want to hear this dude's, his little video essay or his take on Batman v Superman, and I already know he's gonna support it. I'm here for it. I just want to hear it, and to see if I agree on if there's anything I agree or don't agree about. But it's probably gonna be a lot of agreeing, so whatever. Yeah, man. So with that being said, make sure to like the video, subscribe, hit the comment, hit the notification bell, comment your thoughts on Batman v Superman, and if you like it or don't like it, and why you don't like it or don't like it. I'm not gonna be mean. Unless you be an asshole about it. But if you're, I'm here for conversation. So, you have, good reasoning or I'll say reasoning, good reasoning or good explanation of why you don't like it. All right, cool. I could work with that. But if you're gonna be an asshole and don't give me a good reason about it, in the sense of like you just say it sucks because it sucks or whatnot, then I'm not even gonna bother. But yeah, man. So with that being said, we're about to get into it. After this video, make sure to check out the other videos on the channel. Yeah, let's get to it.
So for now, I'm gonna give Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice a 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10 is crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. 2 out of 10 is like what's a 2 out of 10 movie? 2 out of 10. I'll say 2 out of 10 is like Sharknado type of rating. Like, what? Even maybe less than that, but like 2 out of 10 for Batman v Superman that looks visually good and the story is good. Even if you want to, you argue that the story's not there, the movie looks good and is entertaining to watch. So a 2 out of 10 is crazy. I'm just saying, 2 out of 10 is crazy. 2 out of 10 is crazy.
Wow, that was the worst piece of crap I've ever seen.
I'm sorry. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that. Oh, I knew somebody was going to say something, but I was not expecting Joe to say that. Alright, let's get it. Doesn't understand Batman.
A YouTuber by the name of Cosmonaut.
Yo, no. No.
A YouTuber by the name of Cosmonaut Variety Hour, or as I'm going to be calling him, Marcus, made a video for his...
Wait, no.
A YouTuber by the name of Cosmonaut Variety Hour, or as I'm going to be calling him, Marcus, made a
Is he mixed?
video for his worst superhero movies of all time series, where he covered Batman vs. Superman.
I don't know, man. Seems kind of gay to me. Batman v Superman, the worst superhero movie made. 94%. Wait, when was this? When was this video made? Oh, this was made 3 years ago. Damn. All right, let's hear it.
Superman. And I had no intention to make a response or even watch the video.
Kinda,
It's not because I couldn't stand to hear someone
Wake the
bash my
fuck
Lord and
up.
Savior Zack Snyder. No, actually, I don't mind hearing opposing opinions. I think it can be interesting to see why the person feels the way they do.
I
and how they
like how people who don't like Snyder just look at other people who like him as they're praising him as a Lord and Savior, when they literally do that for other directors. Like, they support other directors and say they like this director and their films, but when it comes to Zack Snyder, it's you're praising him like a savior or like a Lord Jesus Christ or something. It's like, no, bro, I just like his movies. His movies cool as fuck. He knows how to tell a story, even though people will sit here and try to tell you, oh, he doesn't know how to tell a story. I disagree, but all right. But even if you defend it, it's, oh, you're glazed. And it's like, bro, okay, all right, who's your favorite director? All right, what's your favorite film from that director? Oh, you're glazing. Oh, you like him? Oh, like, you see how stupid that is? Exactly. Like, I don't understand
came to that conclusion, and maybe show me things from a different perspective that I haven't considered. But the reason why I wasn't interested in viewing this video in particular is because I saw his tweets and his intentions were clear.
Thank you, Zack Snyder. Wait, Zack Snyder released Shiny. I remember when he dropped this. I gotta get on Vero. I have the app. I just gotta get on it to be on it more. But I remember being on Vero and or not on Vero. I remember being on Twitter and seeing this from Vero. And I was like, yo, this is what Steppenwolf's gonna be looking like in the movie. This is hard as fuck. Thank you, Zack Snyder, for the fat YouTube paycheck I'm going to get from this movie. Working on a BVS video, by the way. Oh, you're one of those. You know how people will, like, call you a shill and all that? Like, you sold out? Like, this is shill activity right here. This is lizard activity, as Berlin will say. That's lizard. That's literally lizard activity. Hold on, let me play Vero real quick. Here it is, boom. Oh wait, that's the wrong folder. No, it's the right folder. What the fuck? Alright, boom, sorry. That's lizard activity right there, bro. That is lizard activity. Literally, you just admitted, thank you, Zack Snyder, for the fat YouTube paycheck I'm going to get from this movie. And you would think, like, oh, he's, going to support it. So, like, he's staking him because, he's going to get a fat paycheck for talking about it and working on the BVS. And then seeing what he said and commented about the BVS. Okay. Hey, you know what? If you're going to be... I hope he stands on that. I hope he forever stands on that and doesn't switch up, because that's crazy.
Because it's coming out and getting attention, so why not make a video about its controversial predecessor? And I don't knock him for capitalizing on it. I respect the hustle. But I also knew that he didn't like the movie based on what he said in previous videos.
When Batman starts shooting people and killing them, then I get the idea that maybe someone doesn't understand the point.
You are... Hold on. You're complaining about Batman shooting and using a gun and killing people in a post-apocalyptic fucking world? A nightmare scene? That isn't the main canon. You're mad about that. When Batman's used guns in the comics before. When the world's ending, Batman has done questionable things. You're mad about him using guns against a bunch of people who are using guns in a post-apocalyptic world where Superman's evil. Y'all, this dude is trash. I should have known, but I would have thought okay, if you're gonna complain, if there's stuff in there you're gonna complain about, then it's probably at least somewhat logical. That's not even logical. You just hated on it. You just hated on this movie just to hate on it. That's crazy.
Point of The Dark Knight Returns. And with that, I'm going to talk about how Zack Snyder doesn't understand the point of Batman or Superman. Man of Steel and Batman v Superman are a mess because Zack Snyder has
Man of Steel is a mess.
No idea how these characters work.
So I knew where he stood, and I knew why he was.
Yeah, you clearly could tell where he stands. Well, even from the tweet alone, the 2 tweets alone, but that's crazy. Man of Steel and Batman v Superman are both a mess. I could see how you could arguably argue Batman v Superman being a mess, but Man of Steel being a mess is crazy. That is crazy work. Crazy shit work.
He was making the video, so I didn't feel the need to give it any of my attention. However, I've been getting comments and messages nonstop since its release asking me for my opinion and to reply to it. So I finally gave it a watch, and honestly, it's worse than I thought it was gonna be.
Yes.
I genuinely feel that he didn't pay attention to the movie because he has a
bro. Even though this is years ago, I don't even know what this dude Trex is doing. For videos, but I just to let you know, Trex, if you see this, I stumbled upon while looking up and watching Zack Snyder reacting to Zack Snyder content. I just stumbled upon your thing, and I fuck with Batman v Superman. I see you fuck with Batman v Superman, so I just wanted to see what the video is about. So, but bro, a lot of these people who hate Zack Snyder. And a lot of them who hate him because of Batman v Superman or just hate Batman v Superman, I feel like they really didn't watch it and to understand it. I feel like they watched it to either hate it or they watched it and then at some point in the film they got mad at and didn't want to watch. I don't want to say didn't want to watch, but didn't watch the rest of it with open eyes and just stuck on. It's kind of it's kind of the opposite of when you listen to a hard bar and somebody in a rap song and you're stuck on that one bar, but there's other bars in there that are just as fire. I feel like it's the opposite when it comes to this, where they are stuck on something they really didn't like and they're just stuck there, and the rest of the movie played out, and it could have explained that one scene or whatnot, but they just nah, fuck this,
understanding of character motives and numerous scenes throughout. And before anyone asks, he did watch the Ultimate Edition. I don't feel it necessary to cover every numerous scene.
So he's one of them people. He's seen the Ultimate Edition. I told y'all. I understand somebody who's seen the theatrical version and didn't see the Ultimate Edition. All right, cool. But you seen the Ultimate Edition too, and you still said all this shit. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. I'm just saying, that's crazy work.
And before anyone asks, he did watch the Ultimate Edition. I don't feel it necessary to cover everything he mentions because a lot of his criticisms are things that have been said over and over again since the film's release. Things that have been addressed, explained, and debunked already. So I'm not going to go into extreme detail on those topics. Instead, I will bring them up again at the end and give some advice to Marcus. For now, let's get into the video and start addressing the issues I have with it.
Okay, let's get it.
The theme of today is irony. Marcus sets that up right in the beginning when he claims Snyder doesn't understand Watchmen, Superman, and Batman. But then
he say he doesn't understand Watchmen, but he literally alright. I'm gonna let him talk. I'm not even gonna.
Marcus will go on to not understand several parts of the movie.
Let's take the guy who doesn't understand Watchmen and give him the rights to make Batman and Superman movies. I'm sure he'll do a great job.
But a lot of people like Watchmen though. So you saying this doesn't make sense because a lot of people like Watchmen. So if they like the Watchmen, it makes sense he's going to go and do the person who did a DC movie. Because remember, Watchmen's DC. He did a DC movie. You literally scenes straight from the comic book. And you think it's not a good idea to let him do Superman or Batman? Okay.
I don't think Zack Snyder likes Superman, so I think he made these movies to make the kind of Superman that he would want. So instead, you get these movies with a bad Superman, and then eventually
Bad Superman. My thing is, what does Superman look like to you? How should he have portrayed Superman in here? That's my question to him. Like when people say stuff like this, what is the Superman you see that's not that? Especially in Man of Steel. Is it because he's not in the sun all the time, smiling 24/7? You know, Superman has other emotions. Comic books, cartoons. He has other emotions. It's not just he's just smiling and I'm gonna save the day. You know, he gets mad. You know, he gets sad, right? He's not a robot where he just smiles, saves the day, and then says some corny line in his underpants. Like, and people wonder, and like people wonder why some people don't take Superman as seriously as they did before, is because how he was. I don't want to say how he was written, but how modern society saw him as. Even though you had cartoons where he was a badass and all that, and comic books, but it's the same thing with Aquaman. People shit on Aquaman, but don't know that Aquaman is that guy. Like, Aquaman's that guy. Yeah, he may not fly, but he's literally king of Atlantis underwater. And shitting on that. Oh, he could talk to animals. He could talk to fish. You say that, but like talking to a bunch of orcas and sharks to pull up on your ass isn't gonna be scary. Like, you see how people like Zack made I don't want to say Zack made Aquaman cool, but he brought it mainstream for Aquaman to be cool, even though Aquaman was already cool. It's just people didn't. For some reason, there's some stigma out there, and I don't know, because people just automatically go to Superman and Friends or whatnot. They take them as a joke, but it's a reason why some people don't look at it's a reason why people look at Superman as just a Boy Scout and nothing more than that, and nobody and they look at Boy Scout as a bad thing. But I don't know. It's just those type of thinking. Like, people who think like that is what makes, I think, make it bad. Where Zack took them seriously. He literally took them seriously by not. Yeah, you have small jokes in there, but I took them seriously in the sense of, it's not like Marvel where it has to be a joke in there 24. I don't want to say 24/7, but almost every scene to break the tension. You need tension. You need that seriousness. You can't just crack a joke in there and to ease up the tension. There's a reason why the tension is there for the story. And just because they shoot at nighttime or these characters are in a serious scene doing serious acting all that, I don't want to say these characters, but these actors as these characters are doing a serious scene, doesn't mean it's dark and broody. I don't understand that stuff. It's kind of like the whole, I think, to me, people always just show, okay, Superman's in the sun, Batman's in nighttime. Cool. Yeah, you're right. But for some reason, people just automatically just think that's only where they reside. Batman never goes and does stuff in the daytime. Superman doesn't go out and do stuff at night. That's pile of bullshit. And I think I don't know what I can't pinpoint what it is, but it's I don't know if it's because it's comic book fans have just tried to set the standard of what that is, or media itself, but they always just put them in a box. They put Superman, Batman, and all these characters in a box, which these other videos that I did in this video is breaking down, especially what Zach broke down, that these characters got to be broken down, built up, and broken down, built up, so you can see and have and give you new thoughts of okay, wait, I never thought of Batman operating like this, and the idea of him operating like this, and this being the cause of him not to kill or him not to do certain stuff, right? Instead of just him, oh yeah, guns killed my parents, so I'm never gonna use guns. Like, yeah, but what if? And I'm not saying gun. I'm not gonna say the gun thing, but I'm never gonna. I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, cause it's like, what happens when a seasoned Batman is close to that edge, you know? And is doing reckless stuff, because people forget Batman was doing reckless stuff even beginning in, as he got older. So like, I don't know. Maybe I lost some people there at that point. Maybe I have, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like how some of these DC fans put these characters in boxes and don't want them to explore out and do more stuff. Like, you're more accepting in the comics of them doing new stuff, but when it comes to movies, it's like, oh no, like, and it's not even a big thing. Like, that's the other thing.
A bad Batman.
It's not like, I don't know. It's not like they doing some crazy shit.
And all across these 3 movies, these characters never improve in any way. The biggest problem with these movies is that he doesn't understand these.
Bro, Ben Affleck doesn't deserve this. To me, Ben Affleck is the best Batman, in my opinion.
Way. The biggest.
And you could argue with me all you want. I'm just saying, Ben Affleck is the best Batman.
His problem with these movies,
and he deserves his movie. I could say this even without him having his own Batman movie. I could tell you he's the best Batman.
Is that he doesn't understand these characters.
Also, did anyone else notice that he said 3 movies?
And all across these 3 movies.
So he's including 2017's Justice League? Marcus, you're a sophisticated guy. You like superhero movies. That's most of what you talk about. I'm more than certain that you are well aware about the situation of 2017's Justice League and the extensive reshoots that happened from Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers. The theatrical version of Justice League wasn't Snyder's movie. I figured someone who talks about the genre as much as you do would know that. So we only got 2 movies from Snyder with these characters. We're gonna come back to his statement again about Snyder not understanding these characters later, but for now, let's just move on. I also think it's funny that he gives Marvel a backhanded compliment.
You can make a movie that has a boring ass story, but if you make
boring ass story,
the main character relatable and interesting, it will.
Wait, so Black Panther had a boring ass story? So you didn't fuck with Black Panther either? All right, okay. My only critique for Black Panther is, or I got 2 critiques. I didn't like they changed the suit, because I liked the other suit and it was more intimidating, and the fight scene toward the end, like, I didn't like how it was mostly CGI. But yeah,
people will still go to watch it. Marvel has been doing this for years now. Most of these movies are not very ambitious as far as story is concerned. They are simply carried by their charismatic characters.
You say it like it's a good thing. That sounds pretty.
I'm about to say, you're saying this like it's a good thing, like that. He's making it seem like as long as the story is boring, and the characters are is very charismatic and can carry it, then that's what makes it a good movie. And it's like, no, what? That's not okay. That's not okay.
Born. And because of this, more than half the MCU movies are skippable and don't stand out. I mean, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2 and 3, Doctor.
I would say Iron Man 3. I wouldn't say Iron Man 2. I really like Iron Man 2.
Strange.
I wouldn't say Doctor Strange. You're tripping about Doctor Strange being skippable. Thor: The Dark World, yeah, you could skip it, but I like. See, what's crazy is a lot of people who don't like certain Marvel movies, I fuck with them. Like Iron Man 2, I fuck with that. Even though I don't really fuck with Iron Man 3. Thor: The Dark World, I fuck with Thor: The Dark World, but a lot of people don't fuck with Thor: The Dark World. I don't know why you said Doctor Strange. I wouldn't skip Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is actually a fire movie.
Thor: The Dark World, Far From Home, Ant-Man.
Far From Home? Ant-Man? Nah, bro. You tripping. Far From Home and Ant-Man is not skippable. What? Like, I mean, you can, but no, I wouldn't skip these.
And both of them really.
You could have I could see the argument for the second one, but the first one,
underwhelming and forgettable movies, even if the leads are charismatic, as you put it. So before he gets into BVS, he spends 15 minutes talking about Man of Steel and what he doesn't like about it. Like the way it's shot, the section on Krypton, Superman.
The way it's shot, the section on Krypton. You just didn't like the movie in whole. Just say that. You didn't like the whole movie, and you don't faux Zach. Because to say you don't like how Krypton was shot, or you don't like how it was shot in the whole Krypton scene, you're tripping. Buddy, you're tripping. I don't know what drugs you're taking, stop taking them. You're tripping because, bro, that whole Krypton scene beats anything Marvel like has done. Like, it's like, I ain't gonna lie, gang, that like bro, I ain't gonna lie, gang. That ain't it. You're taking it.
Suit, the alien tech, the amount of action,
the suit, and the
destruction, and Superman killing Zod.
I'm gonna stop pausing. I lied.
Basically, most of it. I was originally gonna skip over this part because I wanted to get to BVS
suits?
since that's what's in the title. But it turns out he misunderstands
The
and
tech?
misrepresents several things in Man of Steel as well. So I figure we might as well address those too.
The suit and the tech. Even Zod's suit looks fire, and you're saying the suit and the tech don't look good. I lied about stop pausing. It's gonna be pausing central.
If you just want to watch the BVS part, go and skip ahead to the timestamp here.
No, we're gonna watch this
Like I
whole
already
thing.
mentioned, he said he is
No,
a
you worked hard on this whole video. We're watching it through, buddy. Let's get it.
fan of the way it's shot, the suit, or the alien tech. Which is fine, that's just his preference. He also seems to think that the movie is too long, and he doesn't like the intro section on Krypton.
Oh, and all.
Time out. I know I said I wasn't gonna pause this much, but when I hear some bullshit, we gotta address the bullshit. You're complaining. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. You're complaining about a Superman film that is fire as fuck being too long? You're complaining about a Man of Steel film being too long. Gang, what? I'd be mad when a lot of these Marvel films be too short. That'd be really good. Like, why is it this short? Why is it this like Deadpool and Wolverine? Why is it 2 hours and like 10 seconds or whatnot? Why are we not like, or no, not 10 seconds. Why is it 2 hours and 10 minutes? Why are we not, or I think they dropped it down to 2 hours and 7 or 5 minutes. But like, why are we getting like 2 hour and 20 or 2 hour 30? Like, why are we like, what? Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. These, like, okay, I shouldn't get triggered, but, like, it's too long. Like, do y'all hear this? Y'all hear this complaint that a Superman film is too long? Superman. Too long. That's like that can go for Batman also. Batman movie being too long. It's like, what the fuck are we like? Wouldn't you want more of it? Like, if it sucked, then it's like, all right, it's too long. But the movie didn't suck. I don't know, bro. I feel like people just, I think the new, like, especially nowadays, even though this is like 3 years ago, or at least this dude Trek's video commenting on this is 3 years ago. And I think that's where it started back then, like with the Batman. But like, bro, like, I don't understand hating on something doesn't deserve to be hated on to get paid off of it. That's weird. You're saying you're thriving and getting paid off negativity instead of positivity is fucking weird. That's weird to me. That's weird. It's one thing to give your opinion on it and, tell you, but if you don't even mention the positives, or don't even, like, if it's just all negatives, it's just like, gang, like what do we, like what?
Just his preference. But he also seems to think that the movie is too long, and he doesn't like the intro section on Krypton.
Bro, I'm telling you, Krypton scene is fucking gas. Fucking gas. It's starting to make the fucking, it was starting to make DCEU's fucking space stuff look fucking bigger than ever. Bigger than Marvel's fucking space shit.
Also, the movie itself is kind of boring because it's too long. The opening scene is a good example of things being too.
The opening scene is literally where the action starts. What? It's boring. Literally the first scenes on Krypton is action shit, like action pack. What are we talking about? Y'all are this dude's bugging. This dude's he's tripping,
long
bro.
for no reason.
This nigga tripping.
I don't need to see Superman's dad flying around on a dinosaur and doing karate. I know the planet's gonna blow up. Let's just speed it up. The movie is also 2.5.
Let's speed up a fight scene where a bunch of guards are guarding him, and he has to try to what? What is this dude talking about? What is he talking about?
I know the planet's gonna blow up. Let's just.
I know the plan is to go out to blow. That's not even the point. The point the plan is about to blow up, but he's trying. What are we talking? Yo.
Speed it up. The movie is also 2.5 hours long, and if you look at the plot,
this dude is one of those, like, you can't argue with him, not because he's right, because what he's saying, his complaints and what he's saying is stupid, and it's like there's no point of arguing against him because it's just dumb.
it's kind of hard to understand where they're filling this time up, because it's not a complicated story.
I just want to touch on this because I don't think Man of Steel.
Please, 2 hours and 28 minutes isn't fucking long. If you can't sit through a 2 hour and 20 minute movie, bro, gang, you got to get off TikTok. Even though I don't even know how big TikTok was back then, but like, you got to get off TikTok. You got to get off Vine. You got to get off Instagram, bro. If you don't have a good time span to watch a movie. We're watching a movie. The fuck? Do you want to, bro? Have you watched an animated DC film? And it's an hour. They cram all the good stuff, which could have been fleshed out into a good 2 hour movie. They cram it into an hour, and that shit, gang, bro. That's not long enough. So you want to cut down a 2 hour, 28 minute film of Man of Steel is dumb as fuck. I that's why you shouldn't be in the film business. You shouldn't make decisions on films if that's your thought of Man of Steel being too long. Like,
was much longer than any other movie in the genre. Most comic book movies are always seen to stick between the 2 and 2.5 hour mark. So Man of Steel being
what are we talking about?
the genre.
What are we talking about? What the fuck are we talking
Seem to
about?
stick between
2 hours? You think Age of Ultron's too long?
the 2
Do you think fucking what? You think Wonder Woman's too
and a
long?
half hour.
You think X-Men's too
Hour
long?
mark.
Like, what are we? Do you think Days of Future Past is too long? I need. If you say no, you're a fucking hypocrite. If you say X-Men Days of Future Past is not long, you're a hypocrite.
So Man,
If you say Logan's not long enough, a long movie, you're a hypocrite, because you just said a 2 hour and 21 minute film, 2 hour 20 something minute film of Man of Steel, and yeah, get the fuck out
Man
of
of
here.
Steel being 2 hours and 28 minutes isn't anything out of the ordinary. And I can't really
Right.
think of many scenes that they could have taken out to make it shorter. And now the Krypton intro. I think it's interesting that he doesn't like it, because it is actually a more comic accurate version of Superman's homeworld. The ice cover Krypton that most people are aware of was created for the Richard Donner movie. I just find it interesting how he complains how unlike the comics this version of Superman is, but then complains about a comic accurate section. Also, this intro serves multiple purposes. One, it shows us Superman's homeworld and his father, since not many movies have spent that much time on them. We
Yeah.
get a glimpse at their politics and the
Yeah.
world he comes from. 2, it introduces us to the main antagonist as well as his relationship with Jor-El. And 3, it shows us a key item for the plot later on. But if you don't like this section, that's fine.
Yeah, like, if you don't like it, that's fine, but you can't shit on it because you don't like it. There's a reason why this is being shot, and just because you want, like, bro, if your main complaint is from the first thing, then you didn't really like this film, and that's okay. Just say you didn't like it, but don't try to make it seem like there's stuff in there that makes sense just because you didn't like it and then cut down. Just say you didn't like it and it wasn't your cup of tea. Like, that's it.
I just think it's interesting that he doesn't. He then goes on to mention that the last third of this movie is nothing but action.
The last third of this movie,
Nigga, you just complained it was boring. You just complained, gang. You just complained this movie was boring, even though the beginning scenes is action packed. It starts off with action, but you said it's boring. But when it gets to the action, you got a problem with that. What? Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. You can't you can't say one thing when it shows another thing, and then when they show the thing that you were complaining about, you have a problem with that. Like, gang, if you don't like the film, just say you don't like it.
Is just blind mass destruction and violence. It's basically a 60-minute long Dragon Ball fight. And it's not like
What's the problem with that?
this movie even has the cool action directing that Snyder is known for. It's literally just characters slamming into each other for an entire hour.
They're Kryptonians fighting each other. Have you seen Superman fight somebody in comics and film? Or not even just film. Sorry. We're not even going to use film because apparently y'all's idea for film is skewed. But cartoons. Have you not seen Superman fight a super buff villain and punch him through a building? And then followed after him? Y'all say Zach doesn't understand Superman and all that, but you clearly don't understand, like, how this shit works. Like, it's weird. This is actually weird. This is
After
weird.
a while, you just become desensitized to it. My eyes just glaze over as it keeps going, and it keeps drawing out, and I care less and less.
I always thought this was kind of a weird criticism, considering that most of the movies in the genre are mostly made up of action. Really what Man of Steel does differently is that it saves most of the action for the second half of the movie. On the topic of action, let's talk about the level of destruction in the film. So Marcus, what do you think?
And the destruction in this film is borderline apocalyptic. This is the fucking end of the world. Superman is just blowing through Metropolis without any regard for civilian casualties.
There's actually a really easy answer to why there's so much destruction. Because there would be. Superpowered godlike beings fighting each other.
Thank you. Like, what are we talking about? Superpowered people fighting superpowered villains. And you think it's just going to be like, oh yeah, that car got blew up. That car's flipped over. That building's missing some windows. No, bro. Like, it's gonna look apocalyptic because two superpowered people are beating each other. Like,
would cause a lot of destruction. If you look at the animated movies or cartoons where Superman fights, it almost always ends up destroying multiple buildings and parts of the city. So when that's shown in live action, now it's a problem. Also,
oh my God, this nigga, me and him are right here. I knew it. Me and him are right here. I just said this. Thank you for showing. They literally show it in the card. Even My Adventures of Superman. This nigga's getting knocked into buildings. Cars, villains using cars and buses to hit him with. He's using cars and buses to hit these villains with. What is it? This is not even real critique. You're just coming up with some shit just to complain about. You're just a nagging Nancy or whatever the fuck it's called. You're just over here just nagging, bro.
The damage caused in the movie isn't even Superman's fault. But Marcus thinks it is, and he sees Superman as more of a war criminal.
It's Superman's fault for a villain who escaped the Phantom Zone, which was a prison, and seeing his planets messed up and wants to terraform the Earth. It's Superman's fault, and him trying to stop him and stop the machine from terraforming Earth and fucking up Earth is Superman's fault. I ain't gonna lie. You know what you are? You might as well be James. You might as well be Jonah Jameson, bruh. Cause the way you hate on this Superman is like how he hates on Spider-Man. Like, gang, you're a Jonah Jameson. You're a Jonah Jameson, bruh.
It makes it even weirder in future movies when the characters in this world see Superman as a hero, because as far as I'm concerned, he's a war criminal. The first thing he does when he is publicly revealed is destroy the fucking city. He destroys the local 7-Eleven, the local Sears, and the local
So you're just gonna cut out the part where Zod's fucking goons jumped his ass to send him into the 7-Eleven and send him into the IHOP. We're just gonna just ride past that. Like there wasn't anybody that sent him through the. He just automatically was just like, oh yeah, you see this IHOP? Fuck this IHOP. This 7-Eleven? Yeah, fuck this 7. Yeah. That's because that's what actually happened in the film.
IHOP, and
What?
that kind of domestic terrorism would never be forgiven.
Yeah, no.
This is people. There's people like him on Twitter that complain about shit like this. Not it may not be as bad as this, but they're almost damn near close to complaining about bullshit like this, and they're on Twitter. And these studios listen to these people. Like I don't understand.
He is responsible for smashing Zod through a 7-Eleven at a factory, I'll give you that. But that was Superman losing his temper because his mother was threatened. And that wasn't the smartest thing to do, but that was also kind of the point. More on that later. But the rest of the Smallville fight is him trying to fight off two equally powerful...
You're still fighting them. Like, nigga...
and better trained Kryptonians. And it's really just him getting his ass handed to him for most of the fight. How is that his fault? He didn't throw himself to that...
That nigga got two. I ain't gonna lie. I've never seen Superman get fucked up, or at least get get fucking destroyed, get his ass whooped, like the way I seen in this first half of him being that Superman for the first. Like, bro, I was like, damn, nigga. I'm like, fight back. And I almost forgot, like, they're trained soldiers. So I'm like, oh, shit. They're like, even the moves she was putting on them, I was like, damn, bro. I'm like, damn. I'm like, come on. I'm like, get up, Clark. Fight back.
Bang.
They jumping your ass. Come
He didn't take
on.
down the helicopter or jet. Now let's move on to Metropolis. That was destroyed by the World Engine while Superman was on the other side of the planet. He doesn't show up to Metropolis until after Zod's followers are all sucked through the Phantom Zone. And then the final battle starts. All of this damage is from the World Engine when Superman wasn't even around. And then from here, they destroy a few more buildings, a parking garage, a satellite before finally crash landing. Most of the damage to the city wasn't caused by Superman because he wasn't even around.
He
for
wasn't
it.
there.
Now about Superman.
And it shows what happened. And this explains why they look at him as a hero, because if he's not there to help him, they would be fucked. Like, I don't
being
know.
seen as a hero in future films.
Even weirder in future movies when the characters in this world see Superman as a hero.
And they see him as, and that's an issue. Like, I know there's more to it, you saying, but like, there's an issue. They look at him as a hero because he's a hero. Like, and I understand more of it was for the like destruction of the city, but like, gang, what?
We're only including BVS because Justice League does not count. In this movie, he's seen more as an ally because he's the only one who stands a chance against Zod and his followers. And that's only after the military starts shooting at him. Before then, they also consider him a threat. And even at the end, they're still uncertain.
How do we know you won't one day act against America's interests?
I grew up in Kansas, General. About as American as it gets.
But we don't really get to...
And people act like the military or people weren't skeptical of him at first. Like, what?
see how people...
And they were still skeptical even toward the end and in Batman v Superman. With Lex trying to frame his ass, they were still skeptical about Superman.
feel about him until the next movie. And the biggest plot point for BVS is that most of the people don't see him as a hero and reject him, including Bruce Wayne. It's only after he sacrifices himself to kill Doomsday that people actually accept him. He mentions that he hates that Superman killed Zod, and this again is something I never understood why people hated.
And to top it off, it ends with Superman murdering...
It's because Superman doesn't kill, but he's killed. He does. It's not as often as people think, but like I don't know.
Zod, which is just
like, because I don't understand. You have these superpowered villains, right? And you can't put them in no jail. You can't put them there. Like, Waller doesn't have some base where you can put these supervillains in and lock them up like the Suicide Squad. In the sense of like, she doesn't have something to hold a Kryptonian. She doesn't. They don't have something that would hold a Kryptonian or a Doomsday. So you would have to kill him. Otherwise, it's either kill him or be killed. Like, I don't. And there's situations where Superman's put in situations like that and has to make the hard choice. He doesn't thrive and get a good kick off of having to kill. But when he has to, he has to make that decision. That decision either to kill him or let him fuck up everything. That's a tough decision he has to make, but he has to make that decision. Like,
so very.
And I like when superheroes are put in situations like that, because we already know them as, oh, they're gonna save the day and all that. But what happens when they're put in a situation where they have to make a tough choice, and with that tough choice, how does that define that? Does it define that character, or do they overcome it? And what happens? What's the repercussions of making said tough choice? I like stuff like that, because it grows the story even more, and it gives the character even more of, I guess, more of a story or more of a lore to them, where you're like, dang, okay, he did do this, so now how does he overcome, or how does he learn from this situation, and how does he go about about it later on? Like, I don't know. Some people, I don't know why people try to look at it, because even in Marvel kills off they kill majority of the villains off, but nobody has an issue with that. They kill majority of the villains off, but you don't see them stopping them and then putting them in jail, or locking them away. Like, it's, yeah, I don't know.
Be wrong. I've already clowned on this scene before, so I'm not gonna repeat myself too much. If you're strong enough to snap his fucking neck and leave a shockwave afterwards, then why don't you just aim his face somewhere else? You didn't even try!
After this, he goes on to explain who Superman is as a character, but I want to talk about the Zod neck break a little bit more. How else could he have finished the fight? And yes, he probably could have turned his head away from the family, but they have been...
the more I watch some of these videos, it makes me just want to go ahead and watch this stuff. And we haven't even... It's crazy is we're in 9 minutes in, we haven't even got the Batman v Superman.
Fighting, and no progress has been made, and Zod made it clear that he will kill as many humans as possible.
I'm going to make them suffer, Cal. These humans you've adopted. I will take them all from you one by one.
This is an opportunity to put it into
Zod's fucking suit is fire.
Also, this isn't something he did happily like in the
I really want to talk to Zach about, like, how did the Zod's, like, because they already talk about Superman's suit, but how did Zod's armor come to be? Like, what's the lore, or like, how did that come to be? Who came up with the idea of how it looked? Because I really fuck with Zod's suit. Like, something about his armor suit. Like, you already got his sigil on their skin tight, whatever called their soldier uniform, but that armor on top is just fucking gas.
Donner Superman, he begs Zod to stop, kills him, then he lets out a cry and sobs afterwards. This isn't something that he wanted to do, but it shows that he's willing to make a hard decision to save others. This is also Superman siding with humanity by taking out the only other member of his race. He's letting his race die so mankind could survive. Yep. Next, he says the best Superman stories are the ones that explore his humanity.
The best Superman stories focus on his humanity because that's the key.
They explored his humanity throughout the film. What is he talking about? They literally showed him as a kid, living his life as a kid with these superpowers. They showed him as a teen. They showed him going off after his dad dies to travel the world. Like, what are we talking about? And then Batman v Superman, they explored even more with him being part of the Daily Planet, because that's how they end Man of Steel. What is this dude talking about? I keep forgetting, like, this whole thing, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. So, like, I get surprised when he says some new stupid shit, and I'm like, it's in the film, right? Like, it's in there. Like
him. He was raised on Earth, he was raised by humans, and his full life of experiences up to this point is that of a human on Earth. He's a human first. A human that just so happens to also be an alien. And this is something that I have never seen written well in a Superman movie.
What? This is interesting to me because this whole movie is about Clark Kent finding himself. Yes. People go into this movie assuming that Superman is going to have all these traits right off the bat. That isn't this Superman yet. This is a...
Yeah, bro, like, do people not understand this is his origin story? You literally seen him as a kid develop, and then throughout the film, you don't see him do other stuff with his superpowers until later on as he, like, actually starts tapping into his Kryptonian side, because he's been so on the human side that he complains about that he hasn't seen, that he barely, even because of his dad that people complain about, of him dying and all that, that told him they're not ready for it, so you need to hide your abilities. And that's why you see him in the film going out and saving people, like, without his suit, because he hasn't got the suit yet. This is the best origin story of Superman in a film we ever seen. And you're complaining, and people just automatically think, oh yeah, he's gonna know how to fly and shoot lasers and using super breath. And it's like, no, like, if you really pay attention, no, like, they're discovering it throughout the whole thing. Like, it's not just like it just automatically happens.
Journey to the version of Superman that people are more.
And if you're a kid growing up like Superman who has these abilities and is told don't use them in public, you're not going to have a good trained. That's why that Superman flight is so important. His first flight is important because it shows him, like, it shows him learning how to fly, because he kept all that hidden away and doesn't use it.
Or familiar with. This whole movie is a learning experience for him, and is actually a more human version of Clark. He knows he's different and knows nothing about his past and feels lost with his place in the world and has been seeking answers. And throughout the whole movie, he shows us that he isn't infallible. From little things like taking some clothes from someone's car instead of asking for them, or destroying this douchebag's truck. Both scenes that Marcus isn't a fan of.
Take this simple scene of Clark washing up on shore after saving people in the beginning of the movie. He doesn't have any clothes, and he just sees some clothes lying around. Clark finds the unattended clothing outside, he takes them, and he continues on his way. But what if we take the opportunity to have a cute character moment that's specific to Superman? I personally don't think Clark Kent would steal clothes, even if he really needed them.
Is that not a human thing to do, though? So you want him to walk around this town with no shirt, messed up pants, and then people have to question him, like, hey, what's going on, buddy? Why you look like this? You good? What happened to you? Like, what?
I could see him awkwardly going up to the door and asking for the clothes. This would be a cute chance to have some fun dialogue showing that Clark is nice almost to a fault. In this movie, while we are being introduced to Clark Kent, we see him attempt to stand up to a guy who's harassing a waitress. Clark then gets bullied by the man and gets so embarrassed that he goes outside and does this to his truck when nobody is looking. This is pretty...
Bro, this is literally what literally film Twitter does online. They'll take a scene and they'll break it down into the most stupidest, I don't even want to say stupidest, the most, like, dumbest version of the scene. They'll dumb it down to a point where it sounds stupid and not watchable, but when you go watch it, it's like, bro, you know there's more to it than what you're just saying. You're just dumbing it down you're dumbing it way down to a point where you're trying to get people not to watch it, which is weird. Like, you can explain why you like it while explaining the full scene, not trying to skip over parts and stuff like that. That's how you know somebody doesn't understand a film. If they have to skip around when explaining a scene of a reason they don't like, and they're skipping parts that are important in that scene to give them a reason why this happened, why the effect happened from the cause. Why, if you gotta do that, then you can't, like, you shouldn't take people like that seriously, because I don't know how this dude does for his other films he talks about, but I know for certain, just hearing this, it's like, bro, if this is how you break down certain stuff, and you see yourself as a somebody who watches film and critiques it, that is not the best way to do that, because you're not only you're shitting on the artists and their artwork, but you're putting down, well, no, I'm just gonna say you're putting down the artists and their artwork if you're just dumbing down their artwork to that point. and not even trying to understand and see what the reason is, and you're just like, yeah, you're just dumbing it down, bro. Like,
fucking sinister. Clark Kent doesn't exact revenge on people in petty ways like this.
If you thought this was a dick move, that's because it was. Again, this isn't the perfect Superman who makes all the right choices all the time. This Superman makes mistakes. In this case, he stole some clothes and destroyed a truck. Later on, he loses his temper when his mother is threatened and crashes through a factory and gas station. This is all part of the learning experience.
Yeah.
Marcus thinks the laziest thing that you can do is compare Superman to Jesus.
I think the laziest shit that you can do with this character is compare him to Jesus. And that's all Zack Snyder does. Do you get it, guys? What does this remind you of?
Superman has been compared to Jesus throughout his whole existence, because he's always been portrayed as a powerful, godlike being, and a beacon of hope with ideals to strive towards. And in many comics throughout his existence, he's been compared to Jesus or presented as like a messiah figure. This is nothing new to the character. And Man of Steel is literally just 2 scenes where the symbolism is blatantly obvious.
And that's all Zack Snyder does.
Come on, son.
Next, we're going to talk about his parents, mainly Jonathan Kent. Marcus feels...
We're about to, oh my god, we're about to get into the Papa Kent fucking debate. Oh my god.
That he was,
this shit's gonna be fucking stupid.
Was mishandled in this movie.
And in this movie, his dad is so fucking obsessed with Clark hiding his identity that he dies for it. No, stop, my invincible son. Do not save my life.
This is how I know this nigga didn't watch this film to understand it. Or not even like to even just watch it for what it is. Also, like, his dad was obsessed him not to use it because he's a dad and he knows how the world works and wants best for his son. An alien boy who has these extraordinary powers, and he knows the government's gonna come and get him. And they established this earlier in the film when he was a kid who saved a bunch of other kids on a bus from drowning. Hey man, look, if you don't want to watch a movie to understand it and watch it for what it is, then either don't watch it at all or don't critique it. Like,
a core value of Jonathan and Martha Kent is that they encourage Clark to use his powers to help people. But in this movie, Jonathan Kent tells Clark that he should have let children die as opposed to revealing his powers.
What was I supposed to do? Just let them die?
Maybe.
What the fuck?
So Jonathan Kent is determined to keep Clark.
But even Jonathan Kent, even him as a human isn't perfect. That just showed who he grew up with and him not being perfect, but also you saw on his face like he didn't like the answer he was gonna say.
Maybe.
Look, he wasn't comfortable. He like that even shows him as in his character. He doesn't believe what he just said.
What the fuck?
So Jonathan Kent is determined to keep Clark's abilities a secret because he knows how people would react if they knew the truth, and he didn't want him to face the consequences until he was ready, which by the way turns out he's right in PBS with how the world reacts to his existence. That's why he didn't want him to save him in front of all those people. He wants Clark to show himself to the world when he's good and ready. Now as for letting the kids drown, he doesn't say yes, he says maybe, because he doesn't know the answer. He doesn't want Clark to face people like Pete's mother until he's old enough and ready because he knows he's going to change everything when people realize what he can do, and he doesn't want him to go through that until he's old enough. And more importantly, when Clark chooses to do it. A big theme throughout the whole movie is freedom of choice. On Krypton, every Kryptonian is bred for a purpose, and they have no freedom of choice. Superman's parents thought that was something special that Krypton has lost. So when the world was ending, they sent away their only son with the DNA of every Kryptonian so that he can forge his own destiny. And then on Earth, Jonathan Kent wants to keep Clark secret until he's ready and chooses when to expose himself to the world. It's all about what Clark wants. And that's going to do it for the bulk of his main criticisms. He also isn't a fan of Lois Lane, but I enjoy her, but I understand most of his points.
I like Lois Lane. Because it wasn't like she was an obnoxious reporter. It was like she actually was like, she's good at what she does. And that's why she's like one of the top like reporters at the Daily Planet. So I actually liked how she was portrayed in here.
There. I do like seeing her using her reporter skills to track down Superman and find out who he is.
Instead of all the, like, I like that instead of the bullshit like, oh no, I'm not Superman, I'm Clark. Why? Like I like that they, because it gives it helps build the bond stronger and believable instead of the relationship being built on a lie, a huge lie. Not saying it's not. It's the lie isn't understandable. It's just that like I rather prefer them. I'd rather prefer her discover who Clark is before them dating than them dating and then her finding
Bonus
out.
that we have a Lois Lane that's actually smarter than previous versions. That's gonna do it for the Man of Steel section. Now it's time to talk about Batman vs Superman.
Oh, what is this? Batman v Superman. All right, let's get it.
So he starts off this section talking about this film's version of Batman. I'm going to be addressing these critiques later, but for now, I want to cover things that he gets wrong or just doesn't understand. Also, I'm not going to be addressing most of his nitpicks like these.
Wait, so you're telling me this guy only just now realized that evacuating is a good idea? Bro, if I see the alien ship destroying the city 2 blocks away, my ass is already out the building.
Are you
I thought wasn't in that scene the staircase was destroyed so they couldn't get out, so they had to move upwards. What?
terrorist, General?
What kind of journalist would ask that question? Anyway,
You a terrorist, General?
what kind of journalist would ask that question? Anyway,
This thing, like, just know, y'all already saw how he was nitpicking Man of Steel, so I'm not even gonna try to be I'm not even gonna allow myself to be surprised by what he says in this.
let's not worry about that. Let's instead look at one of the many unintentionally funny scenes of the movie. Why is he crawling on the ceiling like Spider-Man?
These are just that. Nitpicks, and they don't hold any real weight and don't affect anything in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
It could be entertaining and fun to find and make fun of these little things, but I don't see most of them really causing an issue.
He found that funny. I thought that scene was fucking scary. That wasn't I don't know how you saw that as funny, but I saw that as like fucking creepy. Like, this nigga, big ass nigga that's built like not built, big ass nigga that's fucking dressed like a bat, and you fire at him, you miss with a shotgun, and it looks like he's crawling away, but he uses grappling gun. But seeing him, even if he did crawl away, that's scary as fuck. Like,
Right in the beginning, we get a taste of his misunderstanding of scenes.
Also, can I just say, what the fuck is this scene for? We don't even know these people. Okay, so it's implied that...
That's... What? Isn't any movie start off with a scene that you don't know who the fuck they are? Like, what are we what is these critiques, bro? What are we talking about? Like, you talking about practice. We talking about practice. What?
that someone is trying to frame Superman and make him look more violent than he is.
So you ask what this scene is for and who these people are, and then a few seconds later you say it's to frame Superman. You answered your own question.
You literally did frame. You did answer your own question. So like, what are we talking about? Like,
you also misunderstood this scene. This wasn't to show Superman to be more violent than he is. This scene was to frame Superman by showing that his actions of getting involved caused people in the village to get killed, and he is framed by Lex Luthor's goons by killing everyone and lighting them on fire. And then he has this woman lie to the Supreme Court and say that Superman's action is what...
This is the movie I've seen her from. This is the same. Remember, this is the same chick who plays is it B-13 or this? Basically, she plays the TVA agent in Loki, and I've been for the longest trying to remember because I know I recognize her from Lovecraft Country, but like even in Lovecraft Country, I was like I could have sworn I seen her before this, and it was Batman v Superman, and I forget that she was in here.
What caused the massacre of her village.
We have Lex Luthor trying to coerce a congresswoman into giving him access to more kryptonite, even though he already has kryptonite.
That's not what he wants.
No.
He has the kryptonite. What he wants is an import license to bring it in legally.
Yeah.
He could smuggle it in, which is what he ends up doing. But what he's doing here is using the kryptonite as leverage to get what he wants. In a previous scene, he makes a deal with this military guy to get access to the ship and Zod's body, in exchange to help weaponize the kryptonite. But she ends up putting a slight damper in his plans by not giving him the import license. And the current amount he has isn't big enough to weaponize. I know Marcus basically said a simplified version of that, but I want to explain it, because in a bit he's going to forget that this conversation...
No, this is important to explain because people online and people like him try to simplify these scenes like it's so simple and it doesn't make sense. But it like they look at this and they look at it like, oh, it's just a simple ass movie that like has some shit that Zach doesn't understand. But like, no, it's really people like him who are in the audience who choose not to understand this and try to simplify these scenes that isn't simplified. Like there's complex stuff to it. There's more deeper stuff to the scene than just how you're trying to dumb it down and simplify it.
Between them even happened.
See, the weird thing is, in this movie, both Batman and Lex Luthor want to defeat Superman. It would make sense to me if Zucker Lex or Bruce approached the other person and was like, hey, we don't like Superman. Let's fucking kill him. But no, that can't happen because Lex also wants Batman and Superman to fight each other. You may ask, why? Well, I can't tell you because I don't know.
Why would Bruce Wayne want to work with Lex Luthor?
I can't tell you because I don't know, because you weren't paying attention.
It's very clear in the movie that he's untrusting due to losing people close to him and seeing good people turn bad.
20 years in Gotham, Alfred. We've seen what promises are worth. How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Bruce would rather steal it and keep it for himself instead of having it end up in the...
Was that a Two-Face reference? Was he referencing Two-Face of how they started out good and then they don't stay good for long? And it was like, that's what happened to Two-Face with Harvey Dent.
Wrong hands. Also, Bruce doesn't know that Lex knows that he's Batman. Pretty certain he would want to keep that a secret. So asking Lex Luthor about Kryptonite wanting to team up wouldn't be a good way to keep that secret. Especially since Bruce had to steal the information to find out what the White Portuguese is and what it's carrying.
Not a great plan.
Now, Lex wants Batman to fight Superman because he wants to accomplish two things. Expose Superman as a fraud and kill Superman.
Yeah. God is all powerful. He cannot be all good. And if he is all good, then he cannot be all powerful. And neither can you be. They need to see the fraud you are.
He spends time pushing Batman into wanting to kill Superman because he knows he has the best chance, especially using the kryptonite that he wants Bruce to steal. And it was shown in the email that Bruce sent to Diana that he was looking into other powerful beings. Could have been a possibility that he was looking into one of them to kill Superman, but Batman is right across the harbor in Gotham City and has already been growing increasingly violent over the years, so it would be easy to sway him into wanting to kill Superman by framing him with the incident in the desert, blowing up the Capitol building, and sending him notes to further fuel his rage.
Ripe fruit, his hate. 2 years growing, but it did not take much to push him over, actually. Little red notes, big bang, you let your family die!
And at the same time, he is swaying Superman to not like Batman. Here's another example of Marcus misrepresenting a scene.
And like, how do you miss the biggest villain of all? People think it's Doomsday, but people overlook Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is the reason why Doomsday existed. Lex Luthor is the reason why he got Batman and Superman to fight each other. Like, this is what you will want in a villain from Lex Luthor, and people overlook this and then try to say like, oh yeah, Zach's version of Lex isn't that good. And it's like, what are you talking about? This one man managed to get Superman and Batman to fight each other and created Doomsday and got Superman killed. Like, he got what he wanted, but like in the sense of trying to show he's a fraud, he didn't get what he wanted, but killing him, he got what he wants. So
he hires one of Bruce's old employees who lost his legs during the last movie's final battle so that he can sue Superman for being evil.
Right.
Lex Luthor then gives that guy a cool robot wheelchair, and then he blows it up in the courthouse, killing everybody except Superman. Also, I love Superman's reaction to witnessing the deaths of everybody in the courthouse. Doesn't really seem to mind that much. Oh, and instead of staying to help the people who have just fucking been bombed, he flies away. You don't need to be a comic book expert to know that Superman would never do that.
What?
Yes, he did use this guy to blow up the Capitol building, which was to incite rage in Bruce Wayne and to show the public that wherever Superman goes, chaos follows, even though he's not directly responsible for it. Marcus claims that Superman doesn't look upset about it, and then he flies away. I don't know what you mean. He shakes his head and looks upset with himself because he couldn't stop it. And then outside he can be...
How does he not look bothered?
I don't know what you mean. He shakes his head and looks upset with himself because he couldn't stop it. And then outside he can be seen pulling people from the wreckage, but then is told that they got it from...
But he skipped that. He skipped that and just said he flew off. Yeah,
there,
all right.
Clearly shown that they don't want his help. It's only then does he fly away because clearly...
Like, bro, like, this. You see how this dude skips extra information that's needed to, like, explain why he flew off? He just made it seem like, oh yeah, he stood there after it got bombed and didn't look fazed about it, and then what does he do? He flies off. Like, no, wait, there's some extra step. How'd he get outside? There's no scene that showed us him getting outside, but you skipped all that. All right.
Clearly he isn't wanted.
Oh, and since we have to cram as much shit into this movie as possible, Wonder Woman watches YouTube videos of all the other Justice League members so that we can force some sequels and spin-offs.
This is
Is that an issue? Why is that an issue? Why is that a complaint? You complain that Superman movie, Man of Steel, was too long, and you're complaining that they threw in some Easter eggs of other Justice League members. What are we complaining? You don't fuck with Zack. You don't fuck with Zack. You don't fuck with his DCU. Just say that. If you say that, it makes it easier. People know what side. Don't try to make like
the movie because
no.
This is the information that Bruce took from Lex Luthor at the same time he got the information about the kryptonite. Yes, it is to introduce and set up future DC movies, but it also works into the plot because it shows that Lex was looking into other superpowered beings. He seems a bit confused by Lex Luthor's plan and thinks it's a bit convoluted, mainly Doomsday and how he knew Batman wanted to kill Superman.
Lex Luthor's fucking 4D chess multi-layered plan also involves taking Zod's corpse, mixing it with his DNA, and creating a monster. What are you trying to accomplish? I've said this before, but I really don't like when a villain's plan is that he can just anticipate anything, because it comes across as the plan just being fucking dumb. What happens if Elastigirl doesn't do any of the things that you told her to do? How does he know that Batman has a vendetta against Superman? How does he know that he even wants to kill him? Did you fucking ask him? Did you call him on the phone? Also, how do you know that mixing your blood with the corpse of an alien will resurrect it and turn it into a monster?
Because he read the... I'm gonna let him explain.
Nobody told you that.
So a few things here. The senator doesn't do the things he wants. He wants an import license from her and doesn't get it. Remember, you pointed out that he wanted more kryptonite, but she said no. So she was pushing back against Lex Luthor. She's against bringing in the kryptonite to use as a weapon. He knows mixing his blood with Zod will create a monster because there's a scene where he's in the ship and starts learning as much as he can. You used a part of that scene in your video.
The Kryptonian archive contains knowledge from 100,000 different worlds.
That's crazy. You used the scene from the video, but you skipped over it. Of like, how do you learn to do this and do that?
Good. Teach me.
Acknowledging presence of foreign genetic material. Advising. Action forbidden. It has been decreed by the Council of Krypton that none will ever again give life to a deformity so hateful to sight and memory. The desecration without name.
So that's where he learned to do it. And he creates Doomsday as a failsafe. If you listen in the background, it doesn't get to the final stage until after the hour he gave Superman is up.
Late, says the White Rabbit.
40 seconds to animation.
White Rabbit and one Bathead short.
30 seconds to animation.
So if Batman kills Superman, he can just end the process. If Superman kills Batman, then he's got Doomsday to fall back on. And if Superman kills Lex, then Doomsday is a ticking time bomb. Now, he doesn't know for certain that Batman wants to kill Superman, which is why he pushes him into wanting to do it. Like I said earlier, he knows Batman is getting more violent, so why not see how far you can push him? By sending him the checks back with messages on them that he was intercepting, manipulating the news to make Superman look bad like in the beginning and blowing up the Capitol building.
But it did not take much to push him over, actually. Little red notes. Big bang, you let your family die!
And at the same time, he is swaying Superman to not like Batman by having the criminals killed that he sends to prison and sending the images of it to Clark. Now let's go over the fight.
Doesn't matter. It's time to fight. Time to have the battle that the movie's named.
Why does he sound so depressed when he says this?
Named after pow, pew, pew, byong. Oh no, Batman's.
Yeah, I could see this if you just want to get a laugh out of it, but if you're seriously trying to critique it, bro, this is whatever.
Losing. Time to use a smoke bomb to trick the man who has X-ray vision. So fucking stupid. Oh look, now Batman's winning because he farted on Superman. And this scene really reads like it was made by someone who greatly prefers Batman over Superman. Pow pow, bam, bonk. Batman wins the fight. It's dumb. I'm not gonna waste any more time on it.
Clearly he wasn't amused. So a few things.
Clearly,
First, the
clearly.
smoke bomb.
I couldn't tell because clearly Clearly, he was unamused. Oh my god.
Earlier in the movie, you can see grenades that had the symbol for lead on them. So it wouldn't be far-fetched that Bruce learned about Superman not being able to see through lead from the information he stole from Lex. Because earlier we saw that Lex used lead to hide the bomb from Superman, so he more than likely mixed it in with the smoke grenade. Second, the reason Batman kicks his shit in is because he not only planned to fight Superman, but he also rendered him weak by using the kryptonite. Superman didn't plan the fight until he was forced to. He also didn't think that he was going to get hit by something that could weaken him. Also like to mention that a popular discussion amongst comic book fans and superhero fans is that Batman could potentially defeat anyone if given enough prep time. I mean, he's got plans for the whole Justice League.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Like, this dude just, bro, like, this fight scene was fucking epic, and you're shitting on it it was stupid. Like, there was context to all this. It's Batman. This man had prep time. Like, obviously from the fucking three fucking what's it called? The three turrets that he had set up. Like, it's not like he was just like, oh yeah, I guessed all this. Like, no.
Even killed Darkseid. So the fight being one-sided isn't surprising, considering the planning and the advantage he had with the kryptonite. And then we get to the most misunderstood scene in the whole movie.
Oh my god. Oh my. I'm not even. I already said my piece, but I'm gonna let him explain this scene because this is the stupidest misunderstanding I've ever heard from people, and it's like, how do you not understand this whole scene?
However, right before Batman uses the magic alien spear to execute Superman, the dumbest shit in the movie happens. Superman, in his dying moments, refers to his mother by her first name, which causes Batman to realize, oh my gosh, he's literally me. Who the fuck refers to their mother by their first name, especially as your final words before you are being killed? This is the one thing that's your final words before you are being killed. This is...
I like, my favorite thing about this whole suit is, even if it's his, you know, his eyebrow right here, it still looks like half of it is a monster and half of it you see his human face, and it's like that half and half.
The one thing that stops Batman's murder quest cold turkey. He switches to being Superman's fucking best friend so fast that I thought I missed.
See how he's simplifying and dumbing it down? Like, no, I'm gonna let him explain. I'm gonna let the other dude explain.
Scene of them,
and
I'm
just gonna agree.
Reconciling.
I don't think it's weird that Superman called his mother by her first name. What did you want him to say? Save my mom? He only has a few moments
that's what I just
left, so he pleads for the life of another and tries to get out as much as possible so that maybe Batman could save her. Because he didn't go to Batman with the intention of fighting.
I have to go to Gotham to convince him to help me.
Bruce, please. I was wrong. You have to listen to me.
And his reaction isn't someone who's just noticing a coincidence. He's basically having a PTSD flashback. He's panicking right now, thinking about his parents' death. And I wouldn't say he became Superman's best friend. If you look at him, he looks like he's begging for a chance to save her. Maybe in a way by saving her, he can find peace in not being able to save his own mother.
Yeah.
So now that the fight between Batman and Superman happens, it's time for the final battle with Doomsday.
And this is officially where the movie enters the realm of being too stupid to be forgiven.
What?
This movie has officially become a bad video game. There's not even anything I can say about this.
This was the best epic scene at the. You got Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman fighting against them, and the scenes, even Superman and Wonder Woman fighting them, was fucking epic. What are we
They're
talking
just
about?
slamming into each other, and then
on a remote island that nobody's on.
Wonder Woman shows up, and she slams into him, and then Batman watches because he's just a regular guy.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
What? You've met her, Batman. She's your friend. You're the one who knows her. You know who she is.
If you noticed in Man of Steel and here, he keeps describing the fights as just slamming into each other. That's because that's basically how a lot of these fights go.
Like, what do you want him to do? You want to sit here? You want Superman to sit there and act like Batman and like do all these kung fu moves that Superman doesn't exist, or not exist, that Superman doesn't do? Otherwise, people would be like, oh, yes, Zach definitely doesn't understand Superman because he wouldn't do all these kung fu moves like Batman. Like, what? Like, what do you want him to do?
They knock each other back and forth until one of them gets the advantage. Especially with Doomsday, because he keeps getting stronger and stronger and shows that he's stronger than all three of them. Also, this line right here.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
Was referring to the fact that she just deflected Doomsday's heat vision, and he was guessing that she was another Kryptonian or alien until Superman asked if she was with him. Clearly he knows who she is, he sent her the email. Then Marcus just says this.
Also, I love that on 2 separate occasions we have to have characters say that the places they're fighting in are abandoned.
Strikers Island, East...
So, hold on. We just got done with Man of Steel of you. No, focus, because I want him to see me. I want him to see me when I say this. Focus. Come on. I know, bro. Come on. I know you can focus. There we go. I know this nigga. I know we did not just get done. Hear him complain about Man of Steel looking like an apocalyptic fucking world or whatnot, of them fighting each other and crashing into buildings. But now Zach sends this Doomsday, who can act like a nuclear reactor, sends him to a remote island that nobody's on. Now it's an issue. Now it's an issue. Now we sitting here and complaining about, hey man, now they're gonna announce they're at a remote location. Like, what do you want, bro? Do you want casualties? Do you want a bunch of civilians dying, or do you want them being saved like how superheroes do it? Like, I don't understand these people.
East of Metropolis.
That's uninhabited.
Why did you bring him back to the city?
The port is abandoned.
Because, we can't make fun of this movie. Please don't make fun of my movie. See, the final battle didn't kill any innocent people.
Yes, it's strange that the military and Wonder Woman...
So now he's gonna act like a little baby ass bitch.
The final battle didn't kill any innocent people.
But you're complaining about it being abandoned and people calling out that is abandoned because you were complaining about a Man of Steel that you were just complaining like, you got a bunch of people and deaths. This is not what Superman do. Why is he fighting a bunch of people in the city? You should be. There is no, bro. Hey man, look. Hey, this fucking Cosmonaut variety dude. Hey, bro, look, or whatever the fucking name is, bro. You sound like a miserable dude. Because if you think that's trash and this is the nitpicks and all that you're complaining about, you sound miserable. I wouldn't even want to I wouldn't even want to see a Marvel movie with you. That's crazy, bro. Like,
yes, it's strange that the military and Wonder Woman would be worried about civilians getting hurt. Come on, man.
Like, what the fuck are we complaining about?
Superman totally dies, like, for real. Not clickbait.
Okay.
And the civilians that hate him mourn his death, and the guy who only knew him for an hour mourns his death.
I failed him. Life.
Dude, you tried to stab him to death in a dirty warehouse. You weren't fucking friends.
Yes, people mourn his death because he gave his life to stop Doomsday. People were so concerned about his intentions and questioned his existence, but after he sacrificed himself, they realized that they were wrong about him. Also, Batman is mourning because he feels partly responsible for his death, since he was so blinded by rage and fear and planned to kill him. Also, about failing him, he's referring to failing him as a hero. Batman has fallen so far from his morals that it's through Superman's death that he realized that he should have followed his example.
And Batman threatens to brand him like a cow and send him to Arkham Asylum to be murdered. Just to remind you that Batman...
So you're not going to explain the rest of it? You're just going to cut to that part and then not explain the whole rest of that scene?
Did not learn his lesson.
Batman does learn his lesson if you listen to the speech at the end.
Men are still good. We fight, we kill, we betray one another. But we can rebuild. We can do better. We will. We have to.
Mankind makes mistakes, but it can get better because there is still good left in mankind. And through Superman's example, he's going to be better. That's why he says he won't fail him in death.
I failed him in life. I won't fail him in death.
He also doesn't brand Lex at the end. He more so just scares him instead and punches the wall beside him, showing that he has changed. And now that Luthor is considered criminally insane, he wants to send him to Arkham to keep an eye on him.
I'm insane. I'm not even fit to stand trial.
That's right. We have hospitals to treat the mentally ill with compassion. But that's not where you're going. I arranged for you to get transferred to Arkham Asylum in Gotham.
It blows my mind that there are people who
How can you hate this movie, bro? This movie is so good.
Watch this movie and like it.
That's hilarious.
You're surprised that there's people who like a movie just because you don't like it. We can say the same thing. It's surprising that there's people like you who barely understands the movie and wants to dumb down scenes and not really give the whole context of the movie and leave out the context just because you don't like it, and you're complaining about some stupid shit that you later on be hypocritical about later on. But you don't see us saying anything.
From the guy who likes Captain Marvel and The Last Jedi. People
you like
and like it.
That's hilarious. Coming from the guy who likes Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel isn't bad, but it's the fact that you gave this a 2 out of 10 and you gave Captain Marvel a 7 out of 10 is kind of concerning.
On The Last Jedi.
You put Revenge of the Sith. You put The Last Jedi over Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, bro. You're cooked.
Blown glass houses, Marcus. Or you know what? How about you recommend me a game? What were you thinking? The Last of Us 2? This is Marcus. Or you know what? How about you recommend me a game? What were you thinking? The Last of Us.
6 point. What did you rate The Last of Us? Because The Last of Us is better than The Last of Us 2, in my opinion.
Joel is not a fucking beloved character.
Get the fuck out of here. Now let's talk about this interpretation of Batman. Marcus clearly isn't a fan of it.
And
I love it. I love Ben Affleck's fucking... I love his fucking take on Batman, bro. He embodies Batman.
I fully believe that there are some things you should never change when it comes to Batman. Number 1, Batman doesn't use guns. Number 2, Batman doesn't kill people. Number 3, Batman doesn't use fucking guns to kill people.
Okay.
So it's no surprise that his version of Batman gets rid of all nuance and just distills him down to an angry punching man. Now, if you're the kind of person who thinks Batman should kill people because...
Reverse him to an angry punching man. He reversed him to an angry punching man. But you don't want him to use guns. So what are we talking about? And then almost every iteration of Batmobile had some type of gun to it. So what are we talking about?
It's more realistic. Well, that's okay, but you and I can't be friends if you think that way. His core value is that he values life above everything else. Because his world was shattered by a random act of violence, and he wants to prevent anyone from feeling the pain that he felt that day. And I'm really not trying to gatekeep superheroes over here. You can have different interpretations.
No, you're trying to gatekeep
of the character, but I'm just saying there are a lot of things about these characters that people ignore because movies get them wrong as well. We look at Spider-Man and we accept the fact that he doesn't kill people because he's a cute, fun guy and he's nice, and if he killed people, it would make us sad.
No, Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man is the only one that makes sense, depending on what version of Spider-Man. But if we're talking about like Peter Parker young and all that, it's a reason why, because Spider-Man knows he could easily kill somebody. He holds back. Batman and Spider-Man are two different characters.
But Batman is an old grumpy guy, so people just assume he's supposed to murder people. If you ask me, this mentality is pretty dumb, and Zack Snyder is one of the people who thinks this way.
I think it's hilarious he uses a panel from a comic where he used a gun to say Batman shouldn't use guns. Now, I agree that there are different interpretations, and this is one of them, but his biggest issue is the killing. He mentions it in the beginning and then later on, and he uses this clip from an interview with Zack Snyder to help illustrate this.
I tried to do it in that sort of technical way. I tried to do it like by proxy, shoot the car that they're in, the car blow up.
That counts as killing!
I've covered this before in a video from a while ago, but I'll go over it again here. When it comes to Batfleck, the goal was not to have a young Batman. It was to have a Batman who's been at it for 2 decades, who has lost those close to him, his parents, Robin, and seen others go bad.
Yeah.
20 years in Gotham, Alfred. We've seen what promise.
He's a seasoned Batman. Like, what is that not...
Are worth.
It's a reason why he took after the Dark Knight Rises yeah, is it Dark Knight Rises or Dark Knight what's it called? The storyline. It's an old Batman. So like, yeah.
How many good
even at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, you see the gang, that gang tied up on Batman while Batman's standing on top of his fucking tank of a fucking whatever vehicle.
Guys are left. How many stayed that way?
But more importantly, he's lost his way. After he brands the criminal, Alfred approached him and says,
New rules.
We're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Nothing's changed.
It has, sir. That's how it starts, sir. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men.
He's my favorite Alfred. I think he's my favorite iteration of Alfred. Other than the dude from the Christian Bale movies or the I said his name earlier. Christopher Nolan movies. This is my favorite Alfred.
Cruel.
He's talking about Bruce here. He's telling him that he's turning cruel. And hell, the intro of the movie is Bruce talking about his own fall from grace, referring to Batman as a beautiful lie.
In the dream, they took me to the light. A beautiful lie.
He's a shell of his former self. This isn't the Batman we know anymore, and this has led to a more reckless and uncaring Batman. And that's the biggest thing people get wrong about this interview with Zack Snyder.
You know, I tried to do it in that sort of technical way. I tried to do it like by proxy, shoot the car that they're in, the car blow up.
What Snyder is doing is describing Batman's reasoning for doing what he's doing, killing by proxy. Yes, which is still killing, but he's describing the way Batman sees it. If a guy has a grenade and is going to throw it at him, tough shit, should have stayed home. If a minigun is shooting at him and he takes out the car that's attached to and blows it up, too bad, you shouldn't have been in the way. And the movie,
I mean, if you think about an old season Batman, like that's how I thought of it. I always thought of it like even the scene with him, the goon having the flamethrower. Like, bro, he shot the tank because you're gonna fire it at him. It's not his fault that you turned with the lighter still on and lit yourself on fire or blew yourself up. I don't know.
movie isn't.
But I understand where people got mad at that. But like, I understood because it's like, well, this is the old Batman. This Batman's not the Batman we're used to, and it's not like he's killing directly, like killing them. It's just in proxy.
Presenting this as if it's the right thing to do. If you think this is wrong or questionable for Batman to do, then you're right. Which is why after Superman's death, he says he failed him in life, but won't fail him in death.
I failed him in life. I won't fail him in death.
He failed him as a hero, and this will be the start of Batman going back to the hero with a code of morals like he used to be.
Yep. And that's what you
now
see
I want to
in
talk about
Justice
the
League.
comments in the beginning of the video about Snyder not understanding these characters.
So let's take the guy who doesn't understand Watchmen and give him the rights to make Batman and Superman movies. I'm sure he'll do a great job. The biggest problem with these movies is that he doesn't understand these characters.
I'm going to argue that he does understand these characters, but he wanted to explore them in a way that hasn't been done before in film. He wanted to reestablish Superman from the ground up and build him to be the Superman that we're all familiar with. He originally had a 5-movie arc plan for Superman to get him to the optimistic and bright character that we all know. And he wanted to look at Batman and see what would it take for him to lose his way and what would it take to get him back on the right path. And that's why we get a Superman who doesn't make all the right choices. He's still learning and growing. And that's why we get a gritty Batman who strayed far from his path. But because of Superman, he learns just how lost he became. Marcus actually leaves in the perfect rebuttal to most of his arguments, because a lot of it comes down to these characters being not comic accurate or mishandled.
Because even Iron Man, bro, Iron Man like made mistakes and he learned from those mistakes. Each suit he makes, that's why you see Spider-Man when Spider-Man's in situations, it's from Tony learning certain mistakes and he implemented in his suit. So like. I think Iron Man is a perfect example because you see Iron Man you don't see Iron Man at the top where he's already Iron Man. You see him go through his struggle of alcoholism and being that billionaire douchebag and all that. And then you see how he later on in Marvel films became the hero. I don't see why you can't do the same thing with these other heroes, especially Superman and Batman.
Or misrepresented.
Now you might be saying, Marky, you said it's okay for movies to change stuff from the comics, but sometimes you get upset when they make a change. And I didn't think I'd have to explain this outright, but I don't think some people get it. I've always said that changes are good if they work in the context of that story. I always say I like how the Mandarin is changed in Iron Man 3 because I think for that story, it makes perfect sense. But then I also said that I don't like the movie version of Civil
How does it make sense they... I mean, well... Yeah.
War, because the comic book version, to me, has a lot more emotional significance. It's a comic book storyline that was built up over a much longer period of time, and I think that they should have done that with the movie version. My general idea is that I'm open to change in a comic book movie if the change works. I'm not one of those people who's immediately gonna write off a comic book movie because it's not accurate. The Aquaman movie is very different from the comic books, but I think it is different in a way that works. This movie feels wrong on every level because it doesn't improve Superman with any of these changes. The changes make him worse.
I actually agree with him here, but of course it's all subjective and comes down to your own personal preference. I feel this version of Superman is good in Man of Steel and BVS because it works for the story they're telling. Clearly, he doesn't, and someone can look at the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 and say, I don't like it because they changed the character so much to the point where he could be switched out for any other terrorist and it wouldn't make a difference. You could call him Osama and the story would remain.
Yeah, that, like, I don't like what they did with the Mandarin. Like, I understand what they tried to do, but I don't like it. I don't like that they made the rings bracelets instead of actual rings. Like, in the comics, it's actual rings, but they turn it to bracelets. Like, which is, like, I'm not trying to hate on it, but it's like, it's not even, I feel it's not even the same. Like,
the same. So that character was changed for the worst, and it doesn't help the story at all. And that's basically how Marcus feels about these two movies. He believes that the changes were for the worst, while I believe that they were for the better, and it helps the story that they were telling. And that's going to cover everything I wanted to talk about. I didn't go over every little thing he mentioned, and you probably noticed a lot of these critiques have been said over and over again, and not really anything new. It's really a lot of the same regurgitated shit that people have said since these films released, and they've been addressed time and time again.
Pay attention, you're saying the same shit that he said.
But I felt like making this video since a lot of his criticisms seem to be from misunderstandings that he has about these movies. I don't know if it's because he didn't pay attention, or simply because he didn't care because he doesn't like these movies.
it could be both. It could be both. It could be both. I can see both.
So I would like to recommend you a few videos that you could watch to get a better grasp on it. Nearly all your criticisms for Man of Steel and BVS have been addressed and explained in these collection of videos by Twin Perfect. From the
Why you're wrong about Man of Steel, why you're wrong about Batman v Superman, why you're wrong about Batman v Superman, Batman's movie explained, the Martha's controversy, why you're wrong about Batman v Superman, Lex Luthor plan explained.
Characters' portrayals and motives, Lex Luthor's plan, Zod.
I think this dude really covered. I think he covered all of this. To be honest, like, I wouldn't say not go watch it, but this video that we're watching right now covers all this. So.
The destruction, all of it. If you want to dive deeper on that, there's these couple of videos that dive deep into the symbolism, as well as another really good analysis. But in the end, it all comes down to your own preference, and I can't make you like these versions of the characters or the movies. But I felt like this video was just ramblings on why you don't like it without actually trying to understand it, and either intentionally or unintentionally misrepresenting scenes and motives throughout these two movies. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go and drop a like on it. Now I'm gonna go play some Cyberpunk.
Elon Musk, hilarious. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Tex has said in this video. I don't know who Cosmonaut or what they call him, Marcus. I don't know who he is. I think I've heard of Cosmonaut, but yeah, a lot of I know a lot of it he was directing at him, but like this applies to a lot of people who on Twitter and online who didn't like the movie. He basically said a lot of points that I said and I agree with, that I feel like a lot of people who didn't watch it didn't care and didn't understand it or didn't watch it. And I also would add, I feel like people saw the theater version, not the Ultimate Edition. But this dude Marcus saw both, so yeah. But I think he just didn't care, or I think he didn't care, and you know, he didn't care and didn't want to, you know, didn't understand it and didn't want to, you know, didn't want to like it or something like that. But yeah, shout out Tex for this video, man. This was a good video. breaking down, you know, Man of Steel. We don't even gotta break down Zack Snyder's Justice League, but if we wanted to, we could, but we don't got to because that movie is just as great in itself. And I feel like Cosmonaut, like, my opinion, I feel like Cosmonauts or Marcus's opinion is wrong on a lot of it, and Tex had Tex is right about a lot of stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I was always curious on why people hate Batman v Superman, and I understand the reasoning, but there's a lot more like things that debunk those reasons, in my opinion. But yeah, man. Yeah, so this has been my reaction to Texas Cosmonaut Variety Hour doesn't understand Batman v Superman. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed his rant and my rant about why Man of Steel and Batman v Superman is so good. I would rant about Zack Snyder's Justice League being good, but he didn't talk about it in here, and I guess this was before the movie came out. We'll probably have another time to discuss it. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed this video. It was I feel like it was good, very good dialogue, very good, you know, stuff to, you know, talk about when it comes to Zack's Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I feel like that movie is very misunderstood. And yeah, this has been W Video, man. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment, subscribe, like, comment, if what's your thoughts on Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, why you like or don't like it. Do you agree with Cosmonaut, or do you agree with me and Tex? Let me know. Keep it cordial, keep it nice in the comments and all that. And yeah, man, till next time, there's other videos I covered on this topic. If you like what you hear, watch those also. Yeah, man, we out of here. Deuces.